Thanks for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. You can find us wherever you find podcasts or listen to music. When you have an opportunity, please give us a 5-star review, write a little note, tell us how we're doing. We really appreciate it. It helps us keep this thing going. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at Facebook at Hidden Tracks. Instagram is at HiddenTracks99, and if you'd like to send in submissions or talk to us or give us any feedback about what we're doing, our email is myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. What's up, everybody? Another week, another edition of the show. This week, I'm excited to have a band that's been surrounded in my life and played a role in my, I want to say, punk rock ethos of growing up and has always been around. And they dropped a new album this year, which so many good things about it that we're going to get to here. But first, I just want to welcome everyone from Horace Pinker. Greg, Bryan, and Scott, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shane.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
It's an absolute pleasure. So we'll start off here. I mean, who wants to fight it out? Who's the best storyteller that can give us like the Cliff's Notes of, Horace Pinker becoming, what it is today at this moment? Like, we don't have to run the gamut of the past 30 years, but we can sure get us to a soft point of where we are today.
Bryan's the biggest shit talker. So do you want that or do you want me?
Well, how about Bryan start shit talking and then Scott, you can cut him off.
Yeah,
he gets
Greg
too
can
harsh.
join in too. Greg's the new guy. He's only been in the band 25 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Short stint. So
God, where to begin? So I'm not actually. Scott started the band with our buddy Bill Ramsey way back, and they started the band in Southern California in college, and then they got booted out of college and moved to Tempe, Arizona to do the band full time, and that's where I met those guys, and we started playing a bunch of shows in Arizona and Southern California, and weekend shows turned into long weekends, turned into weeks, and then we decided to put all of our stuff in storage. We did our first U.S. tour in '92, and then put all our stuff in storage beginning in '93, and we went on the endless tour, and we toured nonstop for a couple of years, 8 months out of the year, touring all over the world, over 20 countries. And at the height of our, I guess you could say, popularity, which I don't think we were ever that popular, but at the height of our popularity, Scott decided to actually we all decided to take a break, and Scott went back to school to get his PhD, and I had to get a job, so I started building websites, and then we kind of started doing the band again, but not like we used to, and we did a couple of tours and put out Pop Culture Failure and Copper Regret, and then Greg joined the band, since he's the new guy, joined the band in 2001, Greg and Don, so we could go tour Europe, and then we've been kicking it out ever since.
that was a great quick synopsis.
There we go.
That was fantastic. And
I
that's
mean, there's.
Did you hear the shit
I mean,
talking?
there's. Well, I mean, there's still probably 25 years of stories that we could probably fill in there that I kind of skipped over from 2001 to now. But yeah, I mean, we've been doing this for a long time. We all have jobs and families and lives, and we get together when we can and try to make things work. And the past year or two, we decided to get back into gear again and start being a band. So here we are.
Wow. Well, Scott, what made you want to run off and be responsible and go get PhD and do real things?
Oh, you've done your homework. Well, it turns out I needed a job too. We were touring all the time.
Don't we all?
No, well, you know what? We just hung out with some guys that don't seem to need day jobs. Check out our Insta and our Facebook. No, I mean, you know what? I think I don't know. I think it's nice to have a work-life balance, and the band is what we're passionate about. We've been doing this for a really long time, and we absolutely love it, and we love that people come to see us, and we just had such a rad tour. It was really meaningful. But we also do things outside of that. We also have families, like Bryan said. So it's nice that we're not a one-trick pony, so to speak.
Well, I think to kind of pile onto that, I think what's cool about where we are now is unlike back in the '90s. I won't say back in the day, Greg.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But back in the '90s, when we tried to, when we were actively trying to do this for a living, there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of business stuff you have to take care of, and that's where things can get ugly, and so it's nice now that we don't do this for a living anymore. We do this because we love it, and there's no real business aspect to it anymore. We don't care. We don't care if we get paid. We don't care if we don't have the pressure to have
Promoters,
to sell records.
don't listen to this. Stop listening.
Yeah.
I was just gonna
still pay us, but
yeah, I was gonna say I have a beautiful music venue that could use a band of your types in North Jersey. So
I mean, we don't have to make a living doing this, so it takes a lot of pressure off, and we can do this on our terms when we want to do it, and it's nice. It's cool.
Now, Greg, your sentiments as the new guy. of 25 years. I mean, does what Bryan just said ring true for you about how you feel about the process where you guys are at?
Yes, actually it does. The one comment I was thinking about was I think the reason we've been able to stay together is the ebbs and flows of what we do. And I remember a few years ago, I was speaking with a former member, and it was, I don't know, there was nothing really behind the question or the answer, but it was just that I didn't do what you did when you were in the band. I was not in a van for 9 months out of the year. I wasn't trying to always make a connection in this and that. And, that's why I've been able to stay with it this long. Granted, because I still love writing songs with these guys, but it's the fact that we haven't burned out because we just are forced to take breaks. Like they've been thrown upon us because of families, obligations or career obligations. And I think it's just been kind of that blessing in the background there.
Yeah. So like, would you look at it as, it makes it, the honey that much sweeter when you guys have the opportunity to come back together and sit down and try to create some new songs and want to play again?
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Yeah. And you don't have to worry about like sales figures and revenue generation, and really what a lot of people are like the metrics that they're measuring their success by. Our success is, do we love this song, and did we kill it tonight, playing live? And that's what we like to do.
Yeah, and I just, every time we put out a record, every time we book a show or book a tour, I'm still just amazed and filled full of gratitude that people still care. I mean, somebody still cares enough to send us a email saying that they like the new album or they want to come see us play a show or book a show for us. It's just it's amazing.
No, when it comes to like the process now of coming back together, it a very long time in between this album and the last album. So when it came time to work on the new album, how long did you guys work on it for? I mean, how long were some of the songs possibly sitting around prior to putting it all together and saying, hey, we have something full here and ready to go? I mean, I'd pose that to Scott first.
Yeah, I mean, you have to remember we've been putting things out. It's just that we haven't done the full length. We put we loved our Recover 7-inch show on Dead Broke about 10 years ago, and we did an EP, and Bryan can tell you more about that. But it's called House of Cards, and the physical product just came out on People of Punk Rock, so it's kind of brand new too. But we recorded it a long time ago, and then we were just writing and working on songs, and then the pandemic hit, and it killed that energy, and we ended up releasing it during the pandemic digitally. It just came out physically on People of Punk, but like that was supposed to be the new full length. So after the pandemic, I just moved back to Chicago about 3 years ago, and so we've just been putting all our energy into writing. So some of the songs like Static Generate, one of my favorites, that's been hanging around for a long time, and we got that to kind of click on all cylinders. It's pretty strong. We love it. Just around the corner, we re-recorded from an old comp, but a lot of them are actually like brand new. They're just, we put them together in last year, and we just, loved what came out of the sessions that we were doing in our practice space.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, like Scott said, he moved back to Chicago. So, we all live in the same city together. So, I mean, Greg moved back a couple of years ago as well. I lived in Australia for a couple of years. So, it'd been a long time since we'd all lived in the same city. And so, a couple of years ago, we all found ourselves living in Chicago, and we actually got a practice space again and started, making the commitment to put something together. And it's I think it's come together pretty quickly and pretty easily. But then again, I feel like it's always kind of come together when we've always had to kind of set goals for ourselves. Like, we've always had to book studio time, even though we weren't ready to record or had any songs. And that's kind of the motivation.
We just did that too. We just did that again. We're in the studio next month.
We just did it again.
They're in the studio next month.
Yep. And we have no songs.
I have songs in my head right now. They're literally in my head. I haven't written them yet, though. Probably need some lyrics too.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Dan. If you hear this, you better get prepared. So.
Well, I gotta say that, like, listening to the songs and like watching when it comes to a band and being in on that, like I said earlier, finding you guys, first hearing you on the face-to-face split, like finding you in the record store and being able to get turned on to something other than what I was buying, it is always really special. And for me, listening to the album as often as I have the new album now in the future, I gotta say, like, the maturation process to where it is now has just been like, I can't turn the album off. And I want to thank you guys for continuing to create, because it's what gets me through the day when I hear bands just putting out new music. And the question I'm going to ask, because it was such an amazing surprise to me, because one of my favorite bands and unsung bands of all time, but how do you guys select when you're going to throw a cover song on the album, what you're going to do?
All right, let's go back.
Go ahead.
So a long time ago, Shane, we selected the Go-Go's because we love the Go-Go's.
Yes, and I love that version of the Go-Go's as well. Yeah.
we one of our favorite bands has always been Dag Nasty. We did a Dag Nasty cover a long time ago. It's on like a European 7-inch. But the new one, we in a few years back, like on the cusp of Greg joining, we did a tour of Canada, and we did almost all the lower provinces. We did all lower provinces with a band called All Systems Go, guys from Doughboys.
Yeah, John Kastner. Yeah.
John, Mark from Big Drill Car. I mean, it was a great tour. It was pretty special. It was right as Pop Culture and Copper Regret were coming out, an album and an EP. And I saw the Doughboys on the first All tour back in you fill in the date on that one. I love the Doughboys. I've always loved the Doughboys. And we were talking to our friends, Off by an Inch, a band up in Canada, and they wanted to do a Doughboys comp, and so we just kind of went with it, and we chose Fix Me, and just love the vocals, the harmonies, and it was cool. And Bryan, why don't you finish out the story? Send it to John.
Oh yeah. So first of all, yeah. I mean, Scott's right. I mean, we did that, U.S. or that Canadian, and I think we did the West Coast
shows
as well.
A few shows in the West Coast.
Yeah. Yeah, a few shows on the West Coast with All Systems Go. And John was such a cool guy. I mean, from the moment we first met him in London, Ontario, he was just super friendly and sweet and nice. And so we had a really good tour with him, always been a fan. And then, like, Scott was saying, Off by an Inch was going to do this comp. So we picked the song. And what was really cool about it is that we didn't tell John about it. And after we got it recorded, I sent a copy to a John, and he immediately responded back and was just had nothing but praise by our take on his song, and I thought that was really cool. Kind of made my day. He thought that we did it justice, which is always a good thing.
We were very proud.
Let me tell you, this dumb asshole from New Jersey who my opinion means nothing to you guys, but when I heard it, I thought you guys did an amazing job, because it's one of those. So Crush is in my top 25 greatest albums of the 90s. So like, to hear you do that, and to hear, like, because I've heard people try to do songs before of bands that I love, and I'm just like, I got to turn it off, because I'm just like, want to throw up. And this I've listened to over and over again, just being like, it's fucking perfect. Like, yeah. It's a perfect version. So thank you for doing that, guys. Nice.
So it's really funny, when we recorded it, that was part of the first batch, I think, of songs we did for this album. And I was playing it for my wife in the car, and I mean, she's she tolerates the band, and and so out of those 5 songs that I played her from that first batch, she was like, "Oh, I really like that song. That song's really good." And I'm like, "Yeah, thanks, sweetie."
Yeah.
So
Love that.
not us.
Yeah.
The guy
I want to get a little.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just
No,
going to
go
say,
ahead.
Greg did the most work on that. Like the backups are crazy on that song, and
Yeah.
it was really fun to. I mean, I don't know if Greg had fun, but it was fun to put that all together.
That one's I am a Doughboys fan, but I had never heard that song before it was selected because I was gonna go with my suggestions were other songs, and then I think it was you that said you like that one, and I was like, well, I'll give it a listen, and I was like, yeah, great, okay, but it's a little bit different for me in that realm, but yeah, as far as doing it, I thought it was great, and it's a lot of fun to play live.
Well, let's get a little personal, and I'm going to start with Greg here, and then we're going to go down the line, Greg, Bryan, then Scott, and you're all going to have the same question. But there's usually a really important part when you're, a child and you hear music like for the first time. And when I say hear music for the first time, it's not, like some of those Sesame Street songs and stuff. It's like when you hear something that connects with you, like go back all the time so people get an idea of what I'm talking about. I was 6 years old. I heard the Beach Boys for the first time, and I am where I am in my life musically because of 6 years old hearing the Beach Boys and wanting to find out more. Greg, do you have like a moment like that for yourself as a kid of music that kind of led you to kind of where you are today? Like that first time you heard something that made you want to listen more?
I don't think there was anything as specific as the Beach Boys, but like growing up, I would just listen to whatever was my mom was listening to. I'd go, run errands with her in the car, but I'd be singing along with all these songs. So my the lyrics I remember of these 70s hits and radio songs from the 70s is probably stupid because I'm just like, I don't know what song that is, but I could sing it, but yeah, then I think, I don't know, just through growing up and school, like I was more into hard rock and metal into high school, and then I got turned on to, I remember one friend picked me up for school one morning, probably junior year, and he had Naked Raygun Understand, and he played it, and I was like, who is it? And I heard the name before, but I was just like, who is this? And that kind of like started my shift from metal to punk. And then from there, it was just, I don't know, it was just always something that I caught on. I didn't start playing an instrument. I started playing bass until I was out of high school. I was like 17, 18, and learned a little bit. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is cool. But then once I jammed with people, and I was like, whoa, this is something. This is great. So that was where it just took off, from there. From the kids I used to play with, or the guys I used to play with, like my first band.
What was the name of that first band?
We were called the Grand Marquis.
And they're playing next month in Chicago.
Yeah. We're actually doing we played 4 years ago, and then we're doing another kind of reunion type show. We just got asked if, hey, the one guitar player was asked, and then he related to us and said, "You guys want to play?" And we're like, "Sure," because he doesn't really play anymore. The singer doesn't play anymore. The drummer and I still play, but
name drop, Greg. Come on.
There's a famous guy in the band.
There's a famous guy in the band.
Yeah. Kyle Kinane, the comedian, is a guitar player, and he knows a lot of people. He's done a lot of crossover gigs with comedy and punk rock, and he just knows these guys that are playing, and they asked, do you want to play? And he asked us, and we're all like, yeah, why not? So anyway.
Kyle was supposed to play guitar for Horace Pinker, and instead he moved to LA to become a famous comedian.
Actually, he was so close to finishing college that he's just like, I'm too close, I can't drop out. So I'm like, okay, understandable. And
everybody should drop out of college to be in Horace Pinker. Come on.
That's right.
Yeah, I think he picked the better option. It's working really well for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. Once I started, I've always had music, but once I started playing music and playing with people, I was just like, ooh, this is something. So yeah, it's not the most exciting story, but you know, no one real artist that just
it's a story, and that's all we're looking for.
So, all right.
He neglected to say
Bryan
Van Halen.
Oh.
Greg should have said Van Halen. I'm just going to say that for him.
Yeah.
Well,
Van Halen and left it at that.
It was the first band I listened to. So,
right.
Like after I broke away from what my mom listened to, I'll tell you, man, I was a Kenny Rogers fan. I loved Air Supply as a child.
Hey, man, my first concert ever was Kenny Rogers.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Common ground.
The Gambler.
Right, so you want a story? Here's a quick story. I remember I was walking to school one day. It was probably kindergarten, if not first grade, and I lived close enough and I could walk. And I had a pin that I took from my mom, and I was wearing it on my jacket, and it said, "I spent the night with Kenny Rogers." And as a first grader, I didn't know what the hell that meant. I didn't know what the duality of it was, but I got made fun of, and I was like, "What? Yeah, man, I love Kenny Rogers." And yeah, I didn't get beat up, but I got made fun of pretty badly.
Bryan, how about your story of being a
Kiss? So yeah, first show I ever went to, the babysitter. I was 7 years old. Her and her boyfriend took me to go see Kiss, and after that, I wanted to be Peter Criss, and I wanted to play drums, and I started playing the drums, and then that led me into punk rock and all this nonsense. So Kiss.
Who was your punk rock gateway?
But you know what? Let me go back to Kiss really quick. I was flying back from Sydney, Australia. I was flying back to LA for a client meeting, and I was flying business class, and I was right next to Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley. And I didn't say a word to him because it's weird. You're on an airplane and everybody's just trying to sleep. And then when we got to LAX, we were in baggage claim, and I was standing right next to them waiting for the bags, and I just didn't say a word. And I'm just like, I'm still
so lame,
kicking myself.
Boo.
So lame.
Boo.
And then my gateway to that was Minor Threat. So that was my punk rock gateway. So once I heard Minor Threat, it was all over.
And when you started playing drums and decided to meet up with other people and form a band, what was the name of that very first band you were in?
Blackhawk. Blackhawk was my first band in 7th grade. We did For Those About to Rock and Crazy Train. Those are some of the first songs I really learned how to play on drums. And then my first punk rock band was members of Blackhawk, and we were called Black Label, which we were named after a beer that this liquor store down the street would sell us. And so we named our band Black Label. We were punk rock.
Wow.
Yep.
Scott, how about you?
All right, I'm going a different route here. I'm going college radio. When I found punk, I mean, I think I saw it, like in New York City, I would see, freaks and weirdos but I first heard like the Minutemen in I'll date myself in 1985. And it was because D Boone had tragically passed away, and they just started playing the Minutemen like 24 hours a day on these college radio stations. And I was like, wow, this is the greatest band ever. And then I remember a little over a year and a half later, I heard Trying by Dag Nasty when Wig Out at Denko's came out on college radio. And I mean, it's those kinds of bands, like Discord bands, SSD bands, just blew me away. And I started going to punk shows, and yeah, it changed my life.
All right, you start going to punk shows, and
Ramones. 1986, West Hartford, Connecticut.
Wow,
that's the first show. Then I saw Public Image Limited, West Hartford, Connecticut, 1986, and yeah, changed my life.
Now, was that your very first concert ever?
No. All right, if you really want to know,
what was your I gave you mine.
March
was your
13th, 1984. I was at Duran Duran, and I'm proud. And I'm going to see Duran Duran soon. I can't wait. I love Duran Duran.
Nice. What was the name of your very first band, Scott?
Scream When You Burn, named after a Charles Bukowski short story. We were super hardcore. We played in my basement. my parents' basement.
Well, those are the times, right? When you get in the first band, like you're trying to come up with the name.
Oh yeah. We wrote a song that ended up on Horace Pinker's first album. So there you go.
That's a full circle moment.
That's right.
Which song is that? I can't remember.
Rescue Me.
67?
Rescue Me.
Rescue Me. Right. Rescue Me. All right.
Shout out
now,
to a good friend.
Here's I want to see if who will pick what. I mean, I'm going to go back the other way. I'm going to do Scott, Bryan, and then Greg. Now, if no one ever heard Horace Pinker before, and you had 3 minutes to play them one song of yours and one song only, what song would you play for them, Scott?
I mean, I'm just going to default to second best. It's the first song off Pop Culture Failure, my second favorite album until our new album, because I love our new album. But that's what I would go with.
Bryan.
Ford, what song would you go with?
He's
Somebody's
asking
never heard Horace
right
Pinker before. I'm asking my 10-year-old son, who's actually a fan of the band. So, come on.
A big fan.
If they never heard the band before, who? Which song? Ford
Oh,
says South Stanley plays. It has to be
nice.
South Stanley.
Yeah,
All right, Ford.
Ford knows. Ford knows.
Greg.
I'm actually going to say second best as well, because I had known Horace Pinker, but like a lot of people, it was mostly because of Popcan Park. And then when after I met Scott and we had talked, and then he sent me a tape of songs to learn, the first one I heard was Second Best. And I was just like, I don't care who this band is. I want to play these songs. I love the bass lines. I love the backing vocals. I just want to play what I'm hearing. So I would say Second Best as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think Pop Culture Failure, that album, is when we started to kind of find our footing. I mean, I think I think we were there in Power Tools. I think Power Tools was pretty genuine to what the band was. I think we kind of lost our way on Burn Tempe a bit, and I feel like we course corrected on Pop Culture Failure, and I think everything we've done since then is kind of built upon that. So that's my deep thought.
I like deep thoughts. Now, Scott, during your lengthy career of doing this, is there a performance, a live performance that Horace Pinker has had that, for some reason or another, just occupies this little cortex of your brain that just pops up, for good or bad, but just a live performance that I usually like to hear the bad ones, but to know that you're human. But is there a live performance of yours that you just will never, ever forget about?
Hey, can I give you two, or do I have to go with one?
Absolutely. No, you can give me two.
Sorry. All right. I mean, I'm immediately going to, and I'm not going to remember the if you give me like 20 minutes, I can look this up, but I'm not going to remember the names of the towns. But we played a town in Sweden in a long time ago. And we were scheduled to play this big venue, and it was going to be this great show. And for some reason, the venue canceled at the last minute. We ended up playing this show in these guys' practice space in a basement in Sweden. It wasn't even in Stockholm. It's not even in one of the big cities. We played in the.
I thought Jimmy from Yellow Card told you what town it was.
Yeah, but I think we were wrong. I can't remember the name of the town now. But we played for about 15, 20 kids, and it wasn't even in the practice space. It was in a hallway, and it was just incredible. I mean, we had so much fun. Everybody was just like so excited that we were playing. We just put out a record on Fat Records, and instead of playing for a few hundred people, we played for like 15 or 20 people. That's kind of like epitomizes to me what it meant to be on tour, like on a successful tour. It was amazing. And then I also remember playing in Germany once, and we played this huge hall, and I think we were playing with I Spy. Do you know I Spy? Canadian band?
Yes.
Friends of Propaganda. And I just remember we just got such a great reception, and it was packed, and a lot of people there, and somehow I think it's the only time I've ever done it, but I ended up doing, like, I play guitar and sing. I ended up doing a stage dive off the stage with my guitar and playing while people are carrying me around. That's the only time I've ever done that. That was pretty incredible, and no one got hurt. Those are my stories. I'll look up the towns.
Nice. Bryan, how about for you?
So I'll do two. I'll do one of the ones that really stood out that I remember that was awesome, and then one that wasn't so much. But it's still awesome because I really remember it. So the great one, we were touring Brazil in 2007. We were doing the Zona punk tour down there, and we played in a town called Via Vela, which is north of Rio de Janeiro, and it was insane. I mean, first of all the crowds in Brazil were crazy, but I mean, the place was packed. People just were dancing, just hanging off the rafters, jumping off the stage. I mean, it was nuts. So one of the most fun shows that really stands out. And the other show was on our very first tour in '92. We played CBGBs, and we were so excited. And Scott's already laughing. We were so excited. Here we are, this little band from Tempe, Arizona. We just had a 7-inch out, and we're playing CBGBs. And turns out that we went on after the headline band, and it's literally like 3 a.m. No one is there, and the bartender is. I mean, they like put chairs up on the tables. We're sitting there playing, and the bartender was literally like, the keys to the bar are on the counter, lock up when you're done. And that was our first experience playing New York at CBGB's.
That is a very CB's thing. So,
yep.
Greg, how about you?
I don't know.
What about Grows Rock? That was like one of your first shows.
Well, okay. A disappointing show. I'll start with that. I don't remember what year it was. Scott, when did you move to from LA to when we did that Arizona show?
Oh yeah, that was super disappointing. Yeah, that was 2006.
Well, it's because okay, 06, and the promoter was excited to bring us out. It was the first time I think I'd ever been there. I think it's the first time you guys had brought HP back there.
Yeah, Will flew us out there. Remember? I think
that's right.
He flew us out there.
And I don't know how detailed I should get with this story, but it fell apart and was
great.
It was more of like, I don't know how bad it was, but I just felt like we had just let everyone down.
We did. We absolutely did.
So,
we were not hometown heroes.
Yeah. That was a terrible show. As far as fun ones and standout ones,
there's just too many to choose from, huh, Greg?
There's not. There's a long time to think through, like a lot of years and a lot of time in between. I used to, back when we were doing more, back after I first joined in the 2000s up through probably 2010, I could pretty much always be able to reference anything in my life by, well, that was the year I went to this country. Or that was the year we did this tour. That was the year we did this. And since then, that's been 15 years now. And I'm just kind of like, oh man, like I don't have these references anymore. So
it's all the drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The booze.
You know what's funny though? You think about like there's so many bands that we played with. You think about we think this show wasn't that good, or that wasn't that good of a show, and I think about times like we played with bands that are legendary now, like Jawbreaker, for example. We did a string of shows with Jawbreaker on the 24-Hour Revenge Therapy tour, and love Jawbreaker. And I tell you what, if Blake breaks a string, the whole thing goes to crap. I mean, some of the worst shows I've ever seen is when Jawbreaker falls apart.
Yeah, I told you he's a shit talker. Immediately, shit talking.
I've got a highlight show.
All right,
I want to hear. I want to hear the highlights.
It was Ottawa, just 2 years ago.
Oh, that was good.
Because it's the first time. It was a great show, but it was the first time I had ever heard the crowd singing the lyrics back at us. Like they took over singing the verse in Second Best, and I was just like, "Oh, is this really happening?" And then to add to that, this is also something that really blew me away. Just partially because she didn't say anything, but also because this woman comes up to me after the show and says, "Oh, you guys are great, blah blah blah. I really wish you would have played this song." And she'd like been waiting 10 or so years to see us play and was hoping we would play this one song off of Burn Tempe. And I was like, why didn't you ask us beforehand? We could have done that. And that was just a really surprising moment where I just went, are you serious? Because I don't know, like I've had people come up and say I've been a fan for a long time. And, just this past tour, people from Homa, like we had been to Homa in 2008?
Louisiana.
And then you guys were there in 98. And a lot of these people were first timers, but still they were like, we've seen you before and I've been a fan for a long time. But this woman was just like, I've been waiting so long to see you play. I really wanted to hear this song. And I thought, there's a lot of times where I say, well, I can't even play that song because it's so old and we've never really worked on it. But it's like, this song I could have played.
You know what? We should start asking for requests before we start from now on.
The next thing you know, we'll do a residency in Vegas, right, Bryan?
Yeah. Or we'll have to play Punk Camp Park every night.
Oh, Punk Rock Bowling was canceled, though. We are devastated because I think we were actually going to play. Wah wah. Well,
let's get back to Bryan shitting on Blake for a minute.
No. I was just trying to say how, you think you play a bad show, but sometimes you really don't, because there are really bad shows. So.
No, I get it. And listen, if it wasn't for, they got to be getting paid very well, because I've never seen a band stand so far apart as I have Jawbreaker recently.
We didn't say that. We did not say that. You said that.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, Chris used to be in our band, and we've heard lots of stories. So
where did you see them, Shane?
Yep.
So I just saw them last month in Vegas at Best Friends Forever Fest. Saw them before that at Irving Plaza. Before that, I flew out to Colorado for the just an epic lineup, which was Jawbreaker, Descendants, Face to Face, and Sam I Am.
We were there.
We were there.
I was there by myself. I flew out just for that show.
We were hanging out.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I just saw him play Riot Fest last month, and I got to tell you, it was. And I'm not going to talk shit. I'm just saying.
Yes, you are.
They went right on before Green Day, and all I'm saying is, you got two bands, same age, same location, same genre, came up the same way. They couldn't have been any different. So
in a good way.
Green Day played, in a good way. Green Day played like they were in their 20s, and that's not what Jawbreaker did. So it was very disappointing.
All right, Scott, how about in your life? Is there a band that you constantly turn to? You mentioned Duran Duran earlier, but a band you constantly turn to that never lets you down, that you like to listen to when you don't know what else to listen to?
Yeah.
Rolling Stone asks for your favorite band. I ask for the band that never lets you down. So
that's it. I love that question. I'm going to go with the holy trinity of Bob Mould, Sugar, Husker Du, because Bob plays songs from all of his eras. I love seeing Bob. I love Husker Du, Sugar. I love Bob's solo stuff, and Greg Norton's on tour right now with our friend John Snodgrass and doing some Husker Du songs as well. And I got to get up on stage and sing a song with him, and that was special.
Nice. How do you feel about?
They were great.
How do you feel about Bob going on tour solo, playing only electric guitar, so there's no one else there? Do you enjoy that? Because I've seen it a couple times.
I've seen it a couple times. I love it. I think it's incredible. I love I prefer the full band, but I saw him in Chicago, down the street from where I live, the Empty Bottle a couple of years ago. It was just, I loved it. It just, the energy. He was excited. He was happy. I think it sounds great. Again, I like the drums and bass, but yeah, never lets me down.
Yeah, and now Sugar's doing some shows, so that's gonna be pretty.
Can't wait. Their new song, I think, is awesome. Love it. So
nice, Greg. Band in your life that never lets you down, that you constantly find yourself listening to when there's nothing else to listen to.
I used to tell people, like in college, because I never liked that question of who's your favorite band. And I was like, well, I'll give you a range. So back then, it was Face to Face or Buffalo Tom. And Buffalo Tom is the one I'm going to go with for the answer to this question, because not only do they bring me back mentally to a time when I just, that time period, but they're still putting out music, and I'm still just really into it. I really enjoy it. It's not punk rock, but it's just like, I don't know. That's my answer. Buffalo Tom.
No, I love that. And you're allowed that, because people, that your favorite band question is so tough, because when people ask me too, it's like, I'm kind of in that realm too. Mine was Face to Face or the Posies, and it's like, but I
Nice.
find myself listening to more of the Posies when I really am stuck finding things to listen to.
Nice. Posies. And Buffalo Tom. I didn't realize that, Greg. Wow.
Oh yeah, I've been listening since high school, and just one of these bands, like I said, just reliable.
Nice. I like that you guys are finding out things about each other now too.
I just found out how to pronounce his last name a couple of weeks ago.
Well, when I joined the band, I did pronounce it the way that you knew it, and then when I got older, or well, really not much older, but then I was just like, I don't know, it's a tricky last name. There's no real vowels in it, so I was like, well, let's just go phonetically, and
yeah, sometimes there's vowels in it, but
that's right. And every once in a while, somebody will surprise me and say it the way I said it growing up, and I was like, how would you have guessed that? And anyway.
Nice.
How about you, Bryan? Band that never let you down.
Deftones.
Oh,
100%.
oh.
And my band back. Oh man, I can't say back in the day, but when we used to tour a lot, and I was driving, I played the Deftones, and my bandmates loved it, every minute of it. And so it's always been a guilty pleasure of mine. But now they're like really, really popular now. Like all the teenagers and kids are.
They had a TikTok moment, man.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy, and so now I kind of feel weird wearing my Deftones sweatshirt, but I don't know. I love Deftones.
Yeah, it's funny to watch a band that like has been around for as long as they have, and like we had a Deftones listening party for private music when it came out, and the range of age of seeing like who was in the room for the listening party, I was just like, what the fuck? What are these 14-year-olds doing here?
It's crazy. I mean, good for them. They've been at it for a long, long time. So it's good that they're hitting their peak right now. Even though I don't think they haven't had much of a struggle in their career. But I don't feel too sorry for them. Yeah. But always like the stuff they put out. I mean, not everything, but man, they put out some really good stuff.
Nice. Yeah. So Bryan just mentioned the term guilty pleasure. Now, based upon that, Scott, what would someone be really surprised to hear of someone being in a punk rock band and someone who loves, Duran Duran's already out there, and but like be really surprised that you get tons of enjoyment out of listening to?
My new favorite band that's hitting my top 10 now. I got to be honest. It's Slow Dive. I just think they're incredible. I've seen them a couple times in the last year or so, and I think they're incredible. Love them. Can't get enough of them.
Nice. It's not very surprising to me though, but nice.
All right. I mean, Greg, I think their guitar, the way their guitars work, and the dueling vocals, male female, I love them.
Nice. Greg, someone that you listen to, we'd be really surprised to find out you get tons of enjoyment out of listening to.
I don't think anybody would be shocked by anything I could say, just because, yeah.
That's we're just not going to answer. We're just going to
no. I don't know. I already mentioned Kenny Rogers. I still enjoy listening to Kenny Rogers.
You still bang out to Kenny Rogers?
Not bang out, but it's the kind of thing where if it comes on, I gravitate towards it versus being like, oh, what is this? Just, because I know all the lyrics, or a lot of the lyrics from just my youth. But I listen to a wide range of stuff, and I don't think anything could come as a surprise. It's more like what I don't like. Like, honestly, you know what band I don't like listening to, and I don't care what anybody tells me, I will not listen to them? The Beastie Boys. Mad props for everything they've done, but I don't want to listen to them. So,
wow, who's talking shit now?
Fucking hot take.
That's a hot take.
That's nothing compared to what you said already. I just, I don't,
For the record, I do like the Beastie Boys, and I'm going to fight for my right to pardon.
And you have that right, so please do. But
thank you, Greg.
If that comes on the radio, I'm going to switch stations. But if Kenny Rogers comes on the radio, I'm probably going to turn it up and sing along.
All right.
I love that.
Brian.
I don't care what people say, but I like Coldplay.
Huh.
So I think they are I think they're a fine band. I think they get a lot of crap and they don't deserve it. So they write some good songs.
That they do. I'll agree with you there.
Yeah, all right.
Nice. Look at that.
We're in good company.
Yeah, we go from hot take to agreeing on Coldplay. So this is fun. This is the fun part. All right, Scott, you got 5 minutes left to live. Meteors hurling into the earth, and you can only listen to one song and one song only. What song are you listening to?
The first song off Can I Say by Dag Nasty, obviously.
Nice. Brian.
Well, I was going to say 1 to 2 from Dag Nasty.
Whoa, the second
song. Is that the first song?
That's the second song off Can I Say.
That's the second song. Oh, okay. What's the first song off Can I Say? I'm going to have to look that up. I don't
Values
remember.
Here.
Oh, Values. Oh, that's a good song. All right.
I agree.
All right, Greg.
But how about we just listen to that whole record? How about that? We have 5 minutes, right?
Yeah,
it's only 9 minutes and 38 seconds long.
That's
right.
Greg,
one song.
It's a song called All Is Whole by a guy whose performance name was Whitley. He's Australian. His real name is Lawrence Greenwood. He's singer-songwriter, but it's just like, because I would, asteroid hurling towards Earth, I'm not going to fight it. I'm just going to sit back and listen to the song because it just makes me go, all right, this is what I know.
Is that the guy you went to go see when we were touring Australia?
Yes. Actually, we had a day off on the Australian tour.
Yeah.
And I looked him up just randomly, and he was playing in a town that was a 45-minute train ride out of Sydney. And I was like, I'm going to go see him play. And then I got there early, drank too many beers at this Mexican restaurant when I was getting something to eat, and ended up, I saw most of the show, but I kind of passed out for some of it. And yeah. So it was.
I don't know if I knew that, or maybe we just didn't remember. Scott and I had a nice romantic dinner out on the wharf.
I did not know that, Greg. I did not know that.
I didn't either.
I remember you going to that.
Well,
show.
that was
fantastic.
That was also why I didn't try to meet him or anything like that. I was just kind of like, I'm way too drunk and I'm falling asleep, and yeah. So
basically, you had a moment like I had with John Paul Jones.
Yeah, kind of.
Too drunk to talk.
Yeah.
All right, I like it.
I mean, that's not the name of the Dead Kennedy song, but I mean, it's our variation.
It's our variation. Too drunk to talk.
Hey, at least you were too drunk and not too scared to talk to, like Simmons and Stanley. So
yeah, I've been too scared to talk. Yeah, I was too scared to talk to John Paul Jones and the guys from Kiss.
All right, here's the next scary one. House is burning down to the ground. All living things are out safely, even the goldfish. Everything is out safely. Everyone's safe, but you have a minute to run back in and grab one musical item that you own that means the most to you. Scott, what are you grabbing?
Can it be like a record collection, or is it like one album?
Yeah, if it's in a crate, you can carry one crate out. Yeah.
Can I just grab my vinyl? Yeah, I'm going to grab my vinyl. It used to be in a crate. I'm just going to grab as much as I can. That's it. I'm grabbing all the vinyl I can and struggling down the stairs.
Hey, I'm going to grab 2 crates then.
I don't have it in crates. I can't do that.
So, Brian, are you really grabbing 2 crates, or what are you grabbing?
I would, what, so musical collection, I'd probably want to grab all the test pressings I have from Off Time and Horace Pinker. So I have those all in a box. So I would grab those, because then I could sell my At the Drive-In test presses, so I could rebuild my house.
Love that. I love that, Brian.
Yeah.
To Ford. You get my whole CD collection. Yeah. Ford goes. Don't sell that, Dad.
That's my inheritance.
That's right.
Greg, what are you grabbing?
My P bass.
Yes. Nice.
Yeah, it's I am not a gearhead, and I just bought. I went into a record or into a music shop where a friend worked 20, 30 years ago, probably now. And I was going to buy one, and I was really into ska at the time, and so I wanted to play something that had a higher cutaway, so I could play higher ska riffs and stuff. And this guy says, "Man, take a look at this P bass, and it's this Inca silver, and like depending on the light, it looks silver, it looks green, it's just gorgeous." And I played it, and it's the same bass I've been playing, like I said, for 30 years, and it's been all over the world with me. I've played multiple bands with it. It's just, the one thing that
It's your baby.
Yeah,
it's pretty important. I like that. All right. So we're going to be coming in on our hour here. Don't like to keep you guys longer than that. So before we move on to our final segment, which is our weekly threes, I'm going to ask one last question and start with Scott. Like, I mean, you mentioned earlier you booked some studio time with not much thought into it, but like, what is the thing you are looking forward to the most for Horace Pinker moving forward?
I mean, I can't wait to go back to Europe, to be honest. I'm super excited. Europe's always been amazing. I think we've had more success there in some ways than North America. So can't wait. We're doing a big festival in Belgium, hoping to do some other big shows and playing with some of our friends over there. We can't wait.
Nice. How about you, Bryan? What are you most looking forward to?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. It's been a long time. I mean, these guys actually toured Europe without me because I moved to Australia, and so so they got Nevin, our friend from Leonard's Innards, to fill in on drums, and which is fine. I'll give Nevin a pass. But yeah, so I haven't been to Europe in forever, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm just looking forward to the band being active again. It was a really great little tour down to Fest and reconnecting with a lot of folks and meeting new folks, and I'm just excited to be back in the game.
Nice. How about you, Greg?
I am excited to be playing new songs. And we've only prepared about half of the new album to play out, and I'm still looking forward to like trying out some of the other ones to see what happens with them, and then just to get responses from people, because that's who matters. Like, I love playing the songs I'd play if nobody was there, but if people are there and they like it, that's even better. So I just want to keep playing these songs.
Yeah, I agree with Greg, Scott. We should learn the other songs from the new album.
And the stuff from House of Cards. We don't play anything off House of Cards except that one song, and I want to play the others.
Yeah. Come on, Scott.
Let's do it. We're in. I'm in.
All right. Scott's in. We're gonna play the new songs.
Well, I'm going to wish you guys all the best when you do travel over to Europe. I do always find it interesting how things translate differently overseas for certain bands than they do in their home, and then the same thing for European bands over here in the US where they just don't connect. But I love the fact that you guys are still making music. I love the fact that you're still touring. The fact that music's still a huge part of your life is always what is really special to me, especially when it comes to bands that, I heard when I was impressionable in high school, and the bands are still making music today. And I have the opportunity to talk to them and tell them, hey, thank you so much for what you've given me in my life. I don't think it's said enough. I don't think people take the time or the opportunity, like, kind of like Bryan when he's standing there, how much Kiss meant to him, and he has the opportunity to tell him, just say thank you, and he fucking chickens out and doesn't do it. So I'm not going to be that guy. I'm going to say thank you for all the music and all the enjoyment you've given me, because it's very special and it helps me get through every day of my life. So thank you guys so much for that.
Oh, thank you, Shane. It's very, very kind of you. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for this.
I did.
Awesome.
I checked it out.
So our final segment is called our weekly threes. It's 3 things you're listening to that you would like people to check out. Since there's 3 of you, you're each going to get 1, and then I'm going to give my 3 for the week. But something you've listened to recently, Greg, that you would like people to check out. Give me one thing.
I'm sorry, Scott, if I steal this from you, but Celebration Summer.
No. Damn you.
Scott told me the other day, because we met the guy at Fest last weekend, and Scott told me, he's like, have you listened to him? And I was like, no, I haven't, but I will. And it was just like, wow, really good stuff.
Nice. Bryan.
God, what am I gonna say? Scott, you go ahead of me.
Well,
I'm freezing.
I've been listening to Celebration Summer because they're not only cool guys, they're really, really good. But Greg from Celebration Summer turned me on to a band called Fever Sleep from Oregon, and they're also really, really good. I hope to see them sometime, and I'm really kind of digging their vibe.
Nice.
God, I don't really have anything. This is killing me.
You're killing.
Most of the stuff I listen. I know. I'm.
What's Ford been listening to recently?
Ford.
Yes. There you go.
Ford. What have you been listening to recently? Ford says it's hard. Wait. He's free. He's okay. It's only one band. You can only say one. One band. Yes. Yep. Rage Against the Machine.
Oh,
all right.
There you go.
You know what? Can we?
But you know what? You know what? I will throw one out there. I will throw one out there. We played in Mobile, Alabama, with this younger band who really reminded me of Swerve Driver, and so on tour, I pulled out Swerve Driver's first album, Raise, and started listening to that again. Really excellent record.
Nice, and they got new stuff coming out too.
Oh, they do. That's awesome. Yeah, I actually saw those guys play in Tempe, Arizona on that Rise tour, and I mean there was like 20 people there. This is probably like 91 or something, and they just blew me away. And but that album is excellent.
Yeah, I saw them play. Probably 93, 94 with, I think it was Swerve Driver, Failure, and Tool.
Oh, nice! Wow.
Well, my three for this week. My first one is a band called Restroyer, kind of like Destroyer, but Restroyer with a period at the end of it. Self-titled album, punk band from Utah, really, really good. My second band is a band called Dr. Colossus. They're an Australian drone metal band that actually do songs about The Simpsons. And it's actually really they're actually really good musicians, and the songs are really good. But the whole point of it is it's about The Simpsons. So like, if you know about The Simpsons, it will play some effect to you. And last but not least is an artist that goes by the name of C. Lemon. Name of the album is Diving for a Prize. It's like indie shoegazy female from Seattle, Washington. Those are my three for this week.
Nice.
I love
guys. Again, thank you. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I love that Restroyer has a period after their names.
Got to be different, man.
That's important.
Restroyer
got to stand out somehow.
Period. That's beautiful.
But again, thank you guys so much for, the music you gave me, but also thank you so much for taking the time out to talk with me, have a little fun with me tonight. I really appreciate it. This is my therapy session for the week. So I appreciate you sitting here talking about music, and thank you again so much for all you've given me in my life and continue to give. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Shane. Appreciate it.
Everybody out there in the world, you know what time it is now. It's time to go out, listen to Horace Pinker, and have a great fucking time. Thanks again for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HiddenTracks99. Also, send all your submissions myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Tune in next week. You may find your new favorite band, and don't forget to go out and have a great fucking time.